Thank you. Okay, it says recording is in progress. I'll say continue. Okay, hi, I'm Jodi Breau, and I'm on a mission actually to rid the world of harmful plastic dental floss. And so I created a zero waste dental floss, and I called it Dental Lace Refillable Floss. And it's a 100% zero waste with compostable silk floss in a refillable container. And so what I did simply was took an everyday product and I, made it with sustainable materials. And I also made it fashionable, and I made it, sort of an easy switch. It's really easy to purchase my product. You use it the same and has the same benefits as any other floss. So, if you're looking for more information, just go to dentallace.com. Let me first say that I never planned to be a global oral care company. I really thought that I was going to be loading my car, the trunk of my car, and going around to the natural food stores in Maine, start with Lois's and, the Portland Co-op, and hope that I get into there. And I would just go up and down the roads of Maine looking for the natural food stores and, trying to get my product into those stores. And that's not exactly what happened at all. We put it up. I actually made a online store on Shopify. It looked horrible. I took pictures. I took my own pictures. It was really pretty bad. But what happened was my sister, I sent her the link and I said, "Oh, look what I built." And she posted the link on Facebook. And by the end of the week, I was getting orders from all over the country from people I didn't know. And then eventually I was contacted first by a retailer in Quebec, Canada. That was my first international experience. I've always been just really open, with let's try it. Let's see what happens, And so with Chantel, of course, being in Quebec, I had to have bilingual boxes. And I didn't, I took 5 years of French in, school, but I couldn't begin to, translate to a French box. So I went to Visible Logic is my branding company. She also, Emily Brackett, makes my packaging. She does all my packaging, I should say award-winning packaging. And so I went to her and said, what do we do? And she says, we'll figure it out, And so she and I, with the retailer, her name was Chantel, we translated the box into French, the three of us, Chantel being the only French-speaking person, but she helped us translate it. Emily created the box with the translated bilingual packaging, verbiage, I should say, verbiage on the package. And yeah, we started shipping to Canada, and that was within our first year. And since our first year, I've been contacted by retailers from all over the world. I have 7 distributors now, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Norway, Sweden, and Spain, and the UK, almost forgot. And we have retailers all over the world in 40 countries, and they equal about 20% of our sales. We have 53 retailers in Canada, and we offer the bilingual packaging, even though it's not required throughout Canada. We give them the bilingual packaging because it has a different SKU barcode number. And our 53 retailers in Canada are about 9% of our total sales. I'm sorry, yes, that's right. And then we have 29 retailers in Quebec alone. And they're the ones that are requiring the bilingual packaging. I have found working with the Canadians is just, they're so easy. yeah, the shipping's a little more expensive. Customs, of course, I should mention too, I have a very small and light product, it's 4 ounces. And I remember going to see Billie at one point, talking about international trade. And she said, well, as long as you're not selling a pallet or shipping a pallet, you should be okay. Well, we've never shipped pallets, we don't even come close. And Billie was able to help me sort out how, what to stay under as far as weight and how to get through customs and whatnot. So, and I'll talk a little bit more about the things there. But it's my 7 distributors and 40 countries and so many stores in Canada. I think this is probably why I received Maine's 2020 Export of the Year award from the Small Business Administration last year. Yeah, it's basically, I've just been really open to the idea. Once I found that once Chantel was selling it, other retailers are watching retailers. I guess I didn't really know this, but once she started selling, I had other stores. I forget how many in Quebec. 29 in Quebec, but I don't remember in how long it took for us to get the 29. But once you, let's say, once you're in Australia, I had a retailer first in Australia, then the distributor found me in Australia. It's just interesting to me how that works, that they're watching or they see your products in the country and you get more business in that country once you're, and for me, it didn't take much at all. One retailer and a distributor found me. So I didn't have any business experience at all. I'm a retired school librarian. I just had a passion. I really disliked plastic dental floss and wanted to make a change. And then I find myself shipping internationally, getting requests and things. And, I just had to have help. I just didn't know how to do this. So, and Billie's going to talk later, but one of the resources I found was the Maine International Trade Center. I have SCORE mentors, Alan Shaver, Nancy Stroini has helped me, Kathleen O'Donnell. I've talked to a number of them over at SCORE. And when I came to Alan with this problem, he says, you need to talk to the Maine International Trade Center. So that's how I found Billie. And then Emily Brackett is my branding company, and she does all my packaging, sales sheets. She does everything, sales sheets and everything. And she was able to help me with the bilingual through Chantel. She's always been able to change up my packaging if I needed to. A company that I used, Rapport, International Translation Company. I used them later. I've had to do more boxes. We come out with new products. And when I come out with a new product, I have to have a new box, and the new box needs a new translation. And so rather than going back to Chantel, who was one of my retailers, Emily Brackett helped me find Rapport. And I now work with them whenever I have a translation. Sales sheets, any documentation and things that I need translated in French, I use them now. And then another person that I've used, and I think Billie, Maine International Trade Center, or SCORE, his name is Mike Doyen, and he's an international logistics manager. And he works for SECO, S-E-K-O Logistics. And he's right on Congress Street. And he does several things for us, but I guess you'd call him, He's our international guy. So our product, our floss and containers have been from China. And he did all the work because there's paperwork and there's just a lot involved, from getting our product from China shipped to us and through customs and the tariffs, all of those things. So he helped us through that, and he does today. Every time we order, he helps us with the logistics of actually getting the product to our warehouse. He also, when I chose to ship, we're on Amazon Canada and Amazon UK. He also helped us. I should say EU, not UK, because of Brexit. So it's EU. And he also helps us not only get our inventory to us, but when we ship to Amazon, he helps us with all of that. When we ship to Amazon, our shipments are larger. They're not a pallet yet, but they're larger. And it's just wise. If you're shipping, well, I would say shipping to Amazon, which has its own little, if you're on Amazon, you understand how complicated it is. But we tap him when we are shipping to the UK and Canada. I guess the closing remark, I guess, that I want to say too is, international trade to me is just normal. It's just, I order things now, and the company oftentimes is, from from Canada or some other place. And so it's just a natural, normal thing that goes on. And I think if you have an open mindset to the possibility and that there's people here to help you, like Billie, it's not that hard. It really is not that hard. Every country, I mean, certainly we have regulations. In my case, being dental floss, it's a class 1 medical device. And so there's regulations and taxes and registration through the FDA and whatnot that you have to do. It's no different. I mean, Canada has their own FDA, everything's, it's really no different. The shipping hasn't been any different. I ship UPS, or I ship FedEx, or I ship USPS. And I use stamps.com, so I can, change to whatever I need to do. Yeah, so I guess if you're just open and remember that there's plenty of help here in the state of Maine. International trade it's really not that hard. And I guess that's it. If anybody, I guess we're going to go over to Billie and then questions at the end. So shall I send it over to Billie?
Yes, thank you, Jodi. That
You're
was
welcome.
an excellent quick capture of what it is that you're doing in international trade. And I'm sure there are lots of questions, but we'll take those at the end. Over to you, Billie.
Okay, so hi, I'm Billie Cary. So I'm the Trade Information Specialist over at the International Trade Center, which basically means that my team and I do a lot of the research. So if somebody on our team doesn't already know the answer to a question off the top of their head, or you're looking for specific tax and tariff rates, or any kind of specific questions, then it's going to come to me, and we're going to help you out as much as we can. The International Trade Center is a partial state organization. We are partially publicly funded, partially privately funded, and we have been around since 1996. We do 4 main things over here: educational programming, research assistance, trade missions and trade shows, and we have grants available. So I will get a little bit further into most of those. Yeah. presentation's not moving. There we go. All right, so first off, why is international trade good for business? Why would you even want to get into this? So as you can see, more than 95% of the world's population and 80% of the world's purchasing power are outside of the US. So if you are just sticking inside our borders, you might be missing out on a bunch of potential customers. For us, it's important to note that trade-related jobs grew 11 times faster than total employment in Maine during the same period. So it's not just good for the company, it's actually good for the people working for the company as well, if the company is into international trade. International logistics, as Jodi was saying, shipping things, sometimes it can be a little bit more expensive, sometimes it isn't. If you're sending something over to California, that can cost a ton of money. And it might honestly be less to ship to Canada or Mexico, or even if you're using some freight forwarding and shipping going on the ocean, it could even be just as cost effective to go to Europe. Expanding your cultural knowledge and innovating new products. So if you are looking to add another product to your product line and you're looking for ideas on what you might want to add, looking international and seeing what another culture might do with a product similar to yours might be a great kind of inspiration. All right, what does Maine actually export? So these are our top dollar values of what we export. I'm not anticipating any of you are exporting lobster, but in case you are, that is our top export dollar value wise. So fish and seafood, aircraft parts, electric machinery, mineral fuels, those primarily just pass through our state, but they go to Canada. Wood and articles of wood, paper and paperboard. The industry is not dead in the state. Industrial machinery, including computers, wood pulp, optic or medical instruments. And last year, this is the first time I saw this on, was miscellaneous chemical products. Right, where do Maine companies export? So Jodi mentioned Canada, and Canada is by far our top export partner. Both export and import, we do a lot of business with the country of Canada. Part of that is because we do share some fairly similar, cultural values, cultural things that make it easier to trade with Canada. We share a language, though we do have, there's French as well, but many people in Maine speak French as well. So those are kind of some barriers that might limit other countries that you trade with, but Canada can be seen as easier in those ways. Okay, here are some of the international resources that the state of Maine offers. These are all within the state. So Maine International Trade Center, again, we are kind of the state's international economic development arm. My boss is the State Director of International Trade. And so as part of the Maine Department of Economic and Community Development. In that function, we are free to Maine companies that are looking to use us. So please use us. U.S. Commercial Service. So this is the federal arm. We're the state, they're the federal. We work very closely together. Jeff Porter is our U.S. Commercial Service Officer in the state. He is located in Portland and is also readily available. The Maine Port Authority. So Maine Port Authority is the part of the state that runs the ports. And they actually have come up with a program called First Pallet Free. And what that does is for new exporters or people looking to try out a new market, they will actually help you pay for the ocean travel of a pallet, of your first pallet going to a new market. So that's a pretty cool resource that we have only in the state of Maine. Okay, so on to our grants. The Maine International Trade Center administers a small business administration grant. This is called the STEP grant, which I have always seem to forget what that actually stands for, but it's for Export Expansion Program, State Export Expansion Program. And so it can award up to $20,000 a year to Maine companies that are expanding into international or are expanding their markets in international. So we can actually do a lot of different things with this money, and a lot of different projects will qualify for this money. So please check it out on our website. It's under How We Can Help and Grants, and it can give you much more information than just right here gives. We also help with the Food Export USA Market Access Program. So if you have a food product, this is very similar, but this is through the federal government it's only accessible for food programs. And that goes through my colleague, Jeff Bennett. Okay, so the things that my part of our company works on are market research assistance is really a big one. So our research into companies trying to expand and looking at new markets. So where should you look? What should you look for when researching a new market? Where in the world is your competition selling? So the Trade Center can help you with pulling international trade statistics, and we can help you figure out where your competition is selling in the world. Is there a market in your country of choice for your industry? We can research federal and third-party databases for boots on the ground information. Are there any specific regulations your product needs to meet to enter a market? Much like Jodi mentioned, so her product is a type 1 medical device, and so there may be certain regulations and extra paperwork that you have to fill out in order to send that somewhere. We can help you figure that out. What kinds of taxes and tariffs might your customer have to pay to get your product? So you don't necessarily have to pay tariffs on a product leaving the country. However, your customer is going to have to pay something, probably, if there are tariffs on your product. And so we can help you sort that out. We can help you figure it out. And that way you can figure out if you want to adjust your pricing for a certain market or whatever to keep yourself competitive. Okay, another thing that Jodi mentioned, building your team. So Mike Doyen is a customs broker, and he was in our logistics resources that we sent Jodi. So we have resources around the state that can help your company. So we have lists of legal resources, international banking resources, logistics, compliance, things that will help your company, people that will help your company right here in Maine, that you can help them, they can help you build your team to make sure that you are getting the best advice and doing the best business you can. Okay, so Jodi is a great example of companies in Maine that are exporting, women-owned companies in Maine exporting. And so I pulled together a couple others that we've worked with recently. So Geary's Brewing Company, that I'm sure many of you have heard of, is New England's first craft brewery. President Robin LaPointe just participated in our Export Tech program. Export Tech is our intensive C-level program for companies who already do some international business, but are really looking to build a business plan around their international business. So she's just completed that with us. She participated in a virtual beer trade mission that one of my colleagues held earlier this year, and they primarily export to the UK. Good to Go is a food company that makes lightweight dehydrated meals. I've heard they're very tasty. I have not had a chance to try one yet myself, but people take them on camping trips. I know some people that just take them to lunch, and evidently they're delicious. So CEO and co-founder, Jennifer Schism, they've participated in Outdoor Europe, which is a trade show that we went to, that the Trade Center helped host, that went to Germany in 2018. They use the Trade Center for trade assistance, and they primarily export to Canada. Xuron is another company that we recently worked with, and they make hand tools. So like little pliers and scissors and things. Goodness. And Abby Roby, their co-owner, also participated in our Export Tech program. And they use Mitzi for trade and compliance questions as well. They export worldwide. So people are doing it, and we're doing our best to help them out. Okay, so this is my last slide. If you're in a specific industry or have a specific process question, like about logistics, we have specific people here at the Trade Center that specialize in different things. So my colleague Jeff Bennett works as the Canada Desk Director, as well as working in seafood and consumer goods. Zainab Turk works in education and life sciences. George Lindbaum works on advanced manufacturing. And I am here for all research needs and logistics questions. Much like Jodi, I am also trained as a librarian, and so research is very close to my heart. That's it from me.
Thank you so much. That was excellent. I'm going to stop recording here so that we can open up to